What's up, everybody? How you doing today? Good to be back with you after like a week, I guess, away or something like that. Yeah, I decided that I was going to go weekly so I could focus more on the videos. And hopefully you could kind of see this week from the content I've been putting up. It's a little bit more well researched, well organized. Because when I'm on the live streams, I'm kind of scattered. And like there's no way to prevent that. I've tried notes, just like something with th- there is a good element to it because there are some things that are brought up live often that I get to touch on that I didn't expect to. But at the same time, I want to be able to have some content that's a little bit more well thought out. And the other thing I realized is like I'm trying to build up a little bit more of a portfolio to get back into journalism officially. Um, I have a couple of ideas that I'm planning on pitching to a couple of different places for like research pieces, which there's like no barrier to entry to if you come up with a good idea. So I'm trying to work on that too, but I think having some more standalone videos is going to be good. And it's also way better for the algorithm because the live streams are dead after like a day. And if I'm just putting like random headlines in there, it's not really it's not really giving it enough to work with to figure out who would like my stuff. So I think that yeah, I think the standalone videos are a good call. I've also been since I'm basically scripting the standalone videos, I'm kind of going off script sometimes. I started doing that by the second one, and I think it was a little bit better. So I'm probably just gonna do something like that. But I've also been writing Substack articles as well on all of these. And sometimes it'll go in a slightly different direction or have a little bit more info, but a lot of times it's very similar. And also, there's no paywall for Substack. You don't have to pay for that. A couple people asked what the deal was with that. Um, yeah, it's like a free newsletter service that you get to your email. A lot of people charge for it or they hide like half of their article behind a paywall, but I don't plan to do that because that's not necessarily my monetization plan. But this is very similar. This is like a lot of the slides that I used in the video about the anarchists, the history of the anarchists that were persecuted throughout US history. And it went back all the way to the Haymarket riots, which was started during labor protests. Anarchists were heavily involved in them back then. I did a full video on this too. For those of you who hadn't seen it, you should check it out after the stream. But they had laws specifically targeted at anarchists, like named the Anarchist Exclusion Act. And many of the first immigration acts in this country were for the specific purpose of preventing anarchists from getting into the country. And they deported a lot of anarchists too, including Emma Goldman. And in many of the cases that I talked about in the article and the video, people that weren't even at the protests and didn't even have anything to do with the situation were either arrested or deported just because of their ideas and because of the things that they believed and published. And now we're having similar versions of that today with this Prairie Land sentence that I've been talking about. I also did an article and video on the eugenics agenda in the Trump administration and how the current push to, I guess, bring back institutionalization is a very obvious sign of that. So definitely check out those videos and articles and subscribe to the Substack. It's free. You'll get my articles in your email, and I will not hide them behind a paywall. All right, I'm done with the self-shilling now. But I did want to explain the like the change in format and the reasoning behind it, you know what I mean? Because when I started doing this, I've said this a couple times before, I didn't really know what format or what real like angle I was going to approach things from. I mean, obviously, I have my leanings and stuff like that, but you know, I don't want to just like go through random news. I kind of want to, you know, focus on a few specific things that I have a lot of knowledge on. Oh, what happened to that? I had this video queued up and it went away. Let me find it real quick. But yeah, on these days, I will just be going through random stuff, talking about whatever y'all want to talk about, and answering any questions about my videos. And I also have a list of random, funny, and interesting things I've collected from the week. I gotta find the long version of Trump saying that he wanted to drive housing prices up. See where it is. I'll have to bring it up on my Facebook where I shared it then. Yeah, I did download it. I just had a link up that was a little bit easier, but I appreciate that, Felix. Yeah, it might be a better call with my internet too. But yeah, here's the video.
One of the things Scott said, though, is
let's bring it up.
one of the things Scott said, though, is again, existing housing, people that own their homes, we're going to keep them wealthy. We're going to keep those prices up. We're not going to destroy the value of their homes so that somebody that didn't work very hard can buy a home. We're going to get
somebody that didn't work very hard.
We're going to make it easier to buy. We're going to get interest rates down. But I want to protect the people that for the first time in their lives feel good about themselves. They feel like they've, that they're wealthy people. And I want them to understand it. There's so much talk about, we're going to drive housing prices down. I don't want to drive housing prices down. I want to drive housing prices up for people that own their homes. And they can be assured that's what's going to happen.
That is an insane thing to say. Like, what, man? Yeah, him saying, like, it'll be easier to buy, but we're going to drive the prices up. That doesn't work like that. And it sounds like what you really want to do is drive those prices up. This seems to be like, I don't know what's going on with these guys, because this other guy, I posted this other video. This congressman was asked what he's been doing about affordability and what he's going to say to his constituents when he goes home for the holidays about how he's been working on affordability. And he says that he's going to eat steak and lobster, and if other people can't afford that, then they don't work as hard as he does. This must be like one of those memos that they get in their group chat. Like, let's tell everybody this. This is really going to work.
Congressman, real quick, how do House Republicans make the case that you're fighting for affordability when you go back to your districts?
Affordability? What are you talking about?
Affordability is the big...
I'm going to go there tomorrow. Over the 4th. I'm I'm going to get me a couple big lobster tails. I'm going to get me some nice ribeyes. I'm going to sit in my backyard with my family, my neighbors, and we're going to be enjoying the 4th, celebrating 250 years, the birthday. We're going to be celebrating the greatest president of my lifetime, Donald J. Trump. Maybe watch some fireworks. Won't be up here. It's going to be too hot, right? And I'm in bed at 11 o'clock. I heard the fireworks ain't going off till 11 o'clock Eastern on the 4th of July. I probably have to sleep through that one. But listen, everybody understands you're going to see a little increase in energy prices because of Iran. I mean, come on, people aren't stupid. You realize that when you have a conflict Iran. But I think in the end, this short-term increase in some of the costs of energy, gasoline and stuff is temporary. But President Trump has made it very clear to these companies, don't be gouging, no price gouging. I mean, energy, what? Oil was at $69 the other day, 72 today. I mean, the prices got to come down. Don't take advantage of the American people. To me, it's almost criminal.
You think 60% of Americans?
So we got to do that. We have to do that. And I think that the overall goal and objective is to make sure Iran never has a nuclear weapon. So I'm okay with the increase in fuel because you knew it was going to happen with oil and the Strait and everything. But it's a temporary issue.
You think the 60% of Americans who are living paycheck to paycheck can afford lobster tails and ribeyes and all of that?
Maybe not. Maybe the 60% of America don't work as hard as I do either. I mean, I don't know.
Congressman, real quick, how do House Republicans make the case that you're fighting for affordability?
That is a wild thing to say. Like, damn. I don't know. And this same guy, I think I bookmarked it. He said we need to put the Statue of Liberty to sleep for a while. We need to put a bed sheet over the Statue of Liberty. This guy's name is Nels. This is insane. Like, I mean, I am not somebody who really cares that much about the iconography of the United States or the statues or the all that bullshit. It's mostly propaganda anyway, but most people do really care about that, and it's an insane thing for these people to say. And the way he says it is super fucked up because it's like, yeah, we need to stop letting immigrants in here because that's like the only good thing about the United States' history is that for a very long period of time, like, we were very much an open borders country that wasn't super closed off.
The fact of the matter is this, is that if the American people are truly going to enjoy the 4th of July, right? You have to love our country, number one. You have to love our country. There's a lot of people. There's a lot of people. Can I tell you something? This is what we got to do. We got to put a bed sheet, a big bed sheet, over the Statue of Liberty. 10 years.
This guy is wild.
10-year moratorium on immigration. No more. We have to get this under control. The amount of
there is no problem. There is no problem to get under control. The main problem is that you keep on destroying people's countries and they have nowhere else to go. Morning to you as well.
People that are in this country, we don't even know who they are. The tens of millions that came through in the previous administration, we don't know who they are. The people over here on visas, you signed a little deal that says, I come over here for 5 years and then I'm going to leave. They're overstaying their visas. The fact of the matter is, we got to have a 10-year moratorium on immigration. So we got to have a freeze, put a bed sheet over the Statue of Liberty.
Why a bed sheet?
He said that like 3 times, dude.
A bed sheet because she's going to need to go to sleep for a while. She got to go to sleep for a while because we're not letting anybody in anymore.
Some people.
The Statue of Liberty has to go to sleep Liberty has got to go to sleep for a while. No more liberty. Just you're going to take a nap.
We got. Well, I'm not saying it's dead. What I'm trying to say is that instead of having a torch, maybe it needs a stop sign. Maybe we need a little bit of a stop sign.
Well, so I guess if it was a report card, what grade would you give Donald Trump on affordability?
And affordability and with everything he's dealing with. he's dealing a lot with the previous administration too, and all the stupid things that they did. So no, I give Donald Trump an A plus. I'm celebrating the 4th of July, and the Americans should appreciate the fact we've got the greatest president of my lifetime in the White House.
Amazing. Like, that guy's hilarious. What? JD Vance is trying to step into the spotlight as much as possible now that he wants to like gear up to run for president. And he was speaking at the Richard Nixon Foundation not long ago, a couple days ago, and talking all great about Nixon, saying that, you know, Watergate wasn't actually that big of a deal, and if it happened today, it would just be a 12-hour news story. Like, basically admitting y'all are doing a Watergate every day. And then later he talks about how he's asked about a quote that he used in his book from P. Diddy. And he said, well, I'm a millennial, so I go by the words of the great Christian theologian P. Diddy. Like, he seriously said that.
So we were talking about this a little.
But let's look at this one first. Let's say this is where he basically admits they're doing a Watergate every day.
A little bit backstage, but I'm actually fascinated.
This is very quiet.
As a character in history, I think that his historical legacy is
Why
enjoying
is
a bit
this?
of a renaissance. But I think
I'm gonna see if I can find another one that isn't so quiet. Yeah, like, why are you using? And you just released that book, like, you know. Of course, it's mo money, mo problems. Like, that's a fair quote. You know what I mean? Especially because Diddy wasn't the only one in the song, and I don't even think he wrote that song. But yeah, to then say that in front of a crowd full of people, and then he's like, "Oh yeah, the left is gonna clip that," and it's like, yeah, dude, you fucking, you said the great Christian theologian P. Diddy. Oh man. Let me look at see if there's a clip with better audio. Yeah, here we go.
And by the way, if you look at the story of how the deep state took down Richard Nixon, it's not all that different from what the same groups of people, the same institutions tried to do to Donald Trump in the first Trump administration.
Yeah, I mean, Donald Trump is just like Nixon. And I had some people in my comments throw this at me, and they were like, you know, the deep state was going after Nixon. And I'm like, no, you know, even if that's true, even if there was an internal war within the ruling class and they took him out, I mean, what's the difference? You know, and then the response was that Nixon was trying to end the war. And I was like, what, by nuking the Vietnamese people? That doesn't count. What are you talking about? But there does seem to be this effort to reclaim Nixon's legacy in light of Trump. And I think it is in part to whitewash what Trump is currently doing. If they cast Richard Nixon as, oh, not that big of a deal, like he was just railroaded by the deep state, that is a way of diminishing what the Trump administration is currently doing.
There is a parallel.
Yep, by all accounts, Jesus Christ was an anarchist for sure. And then he was killed by cops. A lot of people forget about that part. Here's the P. Diddy one, though. I got to start out the stream with the stuff that isn't super serious, you know? That's my and then I end with the super serious stuff so you could leave if it's too much.
You title the chapter More Money, More Problems. Why does more money sometimes cause more problems?
Well, I'm a millennial, and so I believe that's the wisdom of the great Christian theologian P. Diddy.
And then the room, like, is what? Yeah, and he does have a look on his face like he knew the reaction he was going to get when he said that. And it's like, I don't think engagement baiting works when you're the vice president. Like, you do this shit on, you know, Twitter when you have a monetized account and you're trying to, you know, drum up rage bait in your comments so you could rack up some attention, or you're just trying to farm some controversy so you could increase your profile or whatever. That's the game that all these right-wing influencers play. But he's already up there. Like, they're already, you know, he's the vice president. You don't have, there's no benefit in doing that. There's no benefit in rage baiting people at this point, especially when you're going to run for president.
Who, as we found out over the last couple of years, is very much not a Christian or a theologian. But see, I'm going to get in trouble for all kinds of things. That'll be one of them. That will be in an attack ad at some point in the future. But okay, so again,
he totally lost what he was saying.
Set the stage here.
That was one of my favorite clips of the week. Oh yeah, he was plucked out of nowhere, like with that stupid book, and Peter Thiel just put him into the Senate, basically. I saw this gift that Trump was given. This this big eagle, this big suspicious looking eagle, right? It has 11 stars on it. That must be for the 11 original colonies, right? There were 11, right? No, there were 13, but there were 11 stars in the Confederacy. That's sus. Yeah, no, I was being sarcastic. But yeah, and then this artist shared like something that they had posted a while ago, which is quite interesting. The picture is awesome, by the way. There's a lot going on. But yeah, this is a very, very ominous thing going on here. Maybe I'm being alarmist, like I got accused of for pointing out that somebody was wearing Nazi camo and ICE or whatever. Things are so hot in Berlin that they're using the water cannons they usually shoot protesters with to cool people off. Then next week, they'll be unleashed on people again. They'll be pointing straight at you next week. That is absurd. Like, why? This is just what they should be for. And why do those water cannons, why do they look more capable than fire trucks? Like, they put more effort into the water cannons that shoot people in the face when they're protesting for their rights than they do in the water cannons that prevent a house from burning down. Maybe I'm just dumb and there's some physics shit going on, but the way that it sprays out like that, you would think that that would be good for a fire too. All the different settings they got on that. The art is as disturbing as the administration, I think. But yeah, that shit is wild. The caption I saw with it was pretty hilarious. Heartwarming. The coercive tools of an oppressive state are being used for an incongruously cutesy crowd-pleasing purpose today only. There was this fair thing that I was following throughout the week. I should have went to it to capture, you know, the oddity of it. I had a lot going on this week though. But Michael Knowles debated a 10-year-old about the Salem witch trials. He's really carrying the flame for Charlie Kirk, you know, because like Charlie Kirk debated college kids. So now he can debate elementary school kids. It's like one could walk so the other could run kind of deal. But his comments in this debate are entirely unhinged. He starts talking about how the Salem witch trials weren't organized enough and how he wasn't sure if the women were guilty or not.
But the one area where the Salem witch trials went a little far is, I would say, they weren't organized enough. So you had these like random judges, you know, kind of burning these ladies. I don't know.
Kind of burning these ladies.
If they were guilty or not. But I think more, if it were more formalized, built up a little bit more, maybe with like a Grand Inquisitor or something.
A Grand Inquisitor? Is that like a clan rank or something like that? That's what I thought.
Would have been a better way to do it. I am so impressed. I could not, but the one area.
And then in another one, I think she was on.
Why?
Because, well, I think it was Favors or Jackie Robinson that said, baseball.
Yes.
Very wild situation here. Michael Knowles is insane. And there was all of this, and I think one of the very interesting things about this whole fair thing that happened this week was the whole, yeah, you're right. I was, I did not know that, but I was definitely making an ignorant joke about that for sure. So yeah, he is in favor of the Inquisition then. No, you're correct on that. You're correct on that. That definitely is true. That makes sense. I just didn't realize that was, I didn't put that together, but that definitely makes sense. Yeah, he may know it as a Star Wars reference, but it seems like these guys are really into the Crusades and they're like obsessed with it. Yeah, exactly. Like a Deus Vult type shit. But the interesting thing about this whole fair, well, one of the many interesting things, they were also baptizing people in a Lowe's pool in a room with an American and an Israeli flag. Um, but you know how we get all this propaganda about how like in North Korea everybody has to get Kim Jong Un's haircut, and you know when something is a total failure they say it is a total success, and you know they say that he's 6 foot tall and all this crazy stuff. um this is 100% happening, like with, yeah, last week with the pool is not green, and then he's like pointing at it and it's green. And in this video a MAGA influencer is walking through a completely empty field talking about how there are massive crowds.
Look, you guys, it's over 90 degrees and look at everybody milling around. There's a lot of people here because this is from First Street to 4th Street down here is the World Cup FIFA fan zone.
Like I really, I did look into this, but I still think it's a parody.
Then you have from 4th Street all the way to 14th Street is the Great American State Fair. This is enormous, and so people are inside, outside, milling around. There are thousands and thousands of people here, so thank you. Anyone who says that this hasn't had attendance is just trying to sabotage. This has been amazing.
It seems like a troll, but they're called glory beef. Is this real?
I've had so much fun, and all of this goes online, and it's counteracting the haters who want to say that nobody's here, and I'm like, yeah, well, you haven't been, so stop lying.
Okay, that's
they're
real.
Gonna protest it and miss out on all this fun. Isn't that a shame?
I really legit thought that was a troll. And yeah, Fox News was doing the same thing. Yeah, exactly. It's insane. And I mean, I think that this, one of the first major times that it started was the situation with the guy's knuckles and the tattoos on his knuckles, and he said it was MS-13, and it was just like a bunch of random shit, and they had photoshopped letters, like typed letters, MS-13 on there, and he's like, no, you tell people that says MS-13. There was a local connection to this story, though. I mean, I'm not in Baltimore, but that's where I party at, and that's where I used to host my parties at, so I do feel some connection there. And actually, I just used to host my parties there. I don't really be there anymore. For reasons that I discuss in my new book that's coming out soon. But yeah, this guy Manny from Baltimore, I had never heard of him, but he is a big MAGA influencer. And he got arrested at the fair for indecent activity in public. Apparently, like, was messing around with his hands in his pants during a live stream while he was watching the acrobatics performers. And he got arrested. There were 3 witnesses that were disturbed by the situation. And all of his people were posting this. Like, what's going on? They love They love defending these people. False arrest, false report, unfair arrest, wrongful detention. They were blaming it on Antifa. I'm not even joking. They were saying that Antifa was snipe streaming him or stream sniping him or whatever it is. Where, you know, you're watching somebody stream and then you go in public and I guess many times try to interact with them. But in this case, the accusation was that people were watching the stream and then decided to you know, decided to go and tell the cops. But apparently he was also on stream like making like comments about the performers as well while this was happening, like along with his chat. And then people were saying that it was provocateurs in the chat getting him in trouble. So yeah, unfortunately a Baltimore native. Oh yeah, he's probably got some kind of crazy history, that guy. All them guys do. Like he hangs out with all the January 6th people. He might even be one of them himself. So this is the baptismal pool behind the porta pots in David's tent at the Trump fair under the Israeli flag. Not technically under, but it is across the tent. Amazing. All right, done with the silly stuff. Let's see. There's this new investigation into Polymarket, and all of these people that were betting on military actions that were going to take place, and they had a 98% hit rate, making over $2.4 million. Or, yeah, $2.4 million. And it's 9 separate accounts. We got Trump, we got Barron, we got his son, we got JD Vance, Marco Rubio. Numbers are a bit low for me to be thinking it's them. But they are betting on this shit. We know they're betting on this shit. If they're going to pretend they didn't see it, they're going to be asked about it by journalists, and they're going to be like, oh, I haven't seen it. I haven't seen it. And they're going to say that for weeks, even if you show it to them. I remember, didn't they start like taking iPads with them to like start showing them the things that they claim they didn't see? And then they just would just run away. Mike Johnson saying he's going to run a protection program for
say I am
for the people who are, I guess, complicit with Trump
on the ballot, because in a real sense he is. If we were to lose the midterms, heaven forbid, these Democrats, y'all, impeachment's not even the big concern. They will turn every committee of Congress into an investigative body, and they'll go after the president's family, the cabinet, his donors and friends. Half of you in this room will be targeted. I run the protection program. I'll take care of you, okay? We're going to win. We're going to win the midterm, okay? All right? I'll leave you to say,
yeah, like a little bit facetious, but still, like, yes, they all deserve to be arrested. Mike Johnson also basically cut this ad for the DSA. This shit was what they literally made an ad out of this. I'm not even a DSA person. Like, I respect them as allies in many fights, and they have many awesome members doing good things. I not really. I don't have that kind of faith in electoralism, especially in the Democratic Party. But yeah, people saying free Palestine and abolish ICE, getting into and fuck the police, getting into office. I can't complain about that. But he cut this hilarious ad for them.
the insurgent left is taking over. Now, listen, I don't know if you've seen this, and if anybody shared it from the podium, and if they have, forgive me for repeating it. But the DSA, the Democrat Socialists of America, it sounds so innocuous, doesn't it? No, it doesn't. Don't say that. This is their platform. Listen, this is actually quotes from their platform that they published, I think, about a day or two ago. You can find this on the internet. Okay, here's just a sample of what they're about. They put this on paper. They're saying the quiet things out loud. Abolish the Electoral College, replace the two-party system with a multi-party democracy.
Okay, I think anybody in America would agree with those two things right there at the very least. And he started with that. Like, everybody hates the two-party system.
Expand the House of Representatives, implement proportional representation and ranked choice voting in all elections.
Yeah, ranked choice voting is a very good thing because it allows more outsider candidates to get in.
Establish public ownership of the largest corporations and essential industries to ensure democratic control and accountability to the people.
Trump already trying to do that with the AI companies, it seems like.
Abolish ICE and grant amnesty for all. End sanctions on Cuba, Venezuela, and Iran. Free Palestine. Quote, for a free Palestine with Jerusalem as its capital. End all military and economic aid to Israel. Prosecute U.S. and Israeli leaders responsible for the genocide in Gaza.
This all sounds amazing.
Abolish the carceral state.
Yes. This is...
Quote, redirect police and prison funding to public services as steps.
What the is? How does he think this sounds bad at all?
Towards
this is so funny.
The carceral forces of the capitalist state. Y'all, it goes on and on and on. Defund the Department of War.
Oh my God.
Replace the president and the Supreme Court.
It's like that. It's like that old meme with Vince McMahon in various stages of excitedness until like there's like fire shooting out of his eyes at the end of it.
With an executive and judiciary chosen and subordinate to Congress, which they're hoping to take over. And the last one is abolish the Senate. Now, some of you may agree with that, but don't, just leave that one there. Okay.
Yeah. Abolish the Senate's another good one.
It's fine. I'm kidding. I love my colleagues over there.
That shit's hilarious. They literally made an ad out of that, which I won't reshare because I just, shared the raw footage of it. But pretty hilarious. And they are running with that too. Like, they're like, those terrible people want to do all these terrible things. And it's all shit that everybody wants. Let's while we're on Mike Johnson, let's keep it rolling with him. because I got a little block of never mind. Mike Johnson.
Which, as I speak, has not come down yet, but it helped hundreds of thousands of formerly.
So yeah, the birthright citizenship was one of the few good decisions I think made by the Supreme Court recently, where because it's pretty much impossible for them to rule against birthright citizenship if they're trying to be a legitimate court. Because yeah, okay, some of you got it. Okay. Yeah. Let's just start this.
Enslaved people in Louisiana. Now, do you, as a constitutional lawyer and representative to the descendants of some of those people who were enslaved, agree with the president?
Oh yeah, and they're talking about like banning pregnant women now from entering the country if they're not U.S. citizens.
That it should be done away with.
What was the, I missed the first part of the question.
It helped hundreds of thousands.
No, what was the
It has
reference?
not come down yet, but do you agree with the president that should be done away with?
What hasn't come down yet?
This is him finding out in real time that the Supreme Court decision did not go in Trump's favor for birthright citizenship.
Oh, birthright. Sorry, birthright citizenship. Yeah. Okay. Look. Yes. As a constitutional lawyer, I got lots of opinions on this. Okay. Understand what the framers did, and when we added this to our constitutional order, understood what the intent was. I think anybody who looks at this, oh dear, what they rule.
Here we go. Children born in the United States, parents unlawfully or temporarily present, are subject to the jurisdiction of the United States and are citizens at birth under the 14th Amendment Citizenship Clause.
See that face? That's awesome.
What's your reaction to
that? Well,
this is real time.
I need to read the opinion, okay? But obviously you could say that's a textualist, originalist view. However, I do think that this has been grossly abused in recent years, okay?
That was such a hilarious right there. Oh, that's so good. And then they caught Clarence Thomas, one of the most corrupt judges on the Supreme Court, leaving Mike Johnson's office. And he's not supposed to be doing. They're not supposed to be like colluding with politicians.
Justice Thomas, can we ask who you were meeting with today?
What'd you say?
Can we ask who you were meeting with this afternoon?
What'd you say?
Who were you meeting with this
Oh,
afternoon?
nobody.
You weren't meeting with the speaker, you were in.
Oh, God, no.
So what are you doing up here?
Oh, just walking.
No meetings in particular?
I'm gonna tell you about.
Tomorrow's gonna be a big
He's caught.
day at the court, huh? Final day of decisions?
Oh, I guess so.
You want to give us a sneak peek of some of the decisions?
Nope.
But you can't tell us why you're up here today, who you're meeting with? Who are you meeting with, sir? Were you up here for any particular reason? No info on who you may have been meeting with? Anyone in House GOP leadership? That's who has offices in there.
So he was in the GOP section of the House leadership offices.
Any matters you were up here discussing?
He's so caught. But he also doesn't give a shit.
Any comment on today's decisions and the end of the Supreme Court term?
You have good questions.
And any comment on the end of the term?
You have good questions.
You want to answer any of them? Any
No.
comment at all?
It's like he was taking bong hits in Michael Johnson's office or something, the way he's behaving.
Thank you, sir.
I remember writing about this guy taking money from Monsanto like 15 years ago. Government really works like that. Everything is shady backroom deals between everybody. It's across the whole government, but like this administration is the worst I've seen in all my years of covering things. And I was around for the Bush administration too. At least paying attention to it. And Obama, of course, as well. That was like my main time of being a journalist. I was heavily critical of that administration as well, but this is out of control. Here, in this new audio from RFK, he pushes a third-party candidate to drop out in exchange for a position in the Trump government. And he says, I can't go into specifics because there's legal prohibitions about that.
The next 2 years is critical for, an agenda that I would like to see. I don't want to be fighting subpoenas for the next 2 years instead of improving America's health. So for me, there's an immediate pragmatic reason for this phone call. And the question for you is not whether a Republican is going to solve any of the problems that you're dealing with, that you're concerned about, or whether you may be able to solve more problems in a different position. And in going in and winning 3 or 4% of an election. So that's just, it's a...
RFK is going to be coming out and he's like, that wasn't me, I swear. It's somebody else.
I admire what you're doing. I admire your idealism. And, but, ultimately you have to ask yourself the same question I did. Is it more important for me to run as an independent, make a point, or could I make an agreement that puts me in a position where I can make a real difference in people's lives? That's all.
Oh.
There may be something that you want to do in the federal government where you think maybe you can do more for people there than having a symbolic run and getting the Libertarian Party on the ticket next time, which are both happening.
So it was a Libertarian candidate that he was trying to pull. I wonder if he did. I mean, if the audio's leaked, I'm guessing it didn't.
Goals. So it's like this. A personal issue. If you want to work with us, I will be your advocate. But I'm not saying this is going to fix the country because it's not. Two parties.
You just say I'm not saying it's going to fix the country because it's not.
System is broken. That's why I ran as an independent.
The two-party system is broken, but
at some point
I knew a butt was coming.
Made a pragmatic choice that I'd be more effective doing this than completing my election. So it's the same question for you.
Okay, I completely understand your logic, and believe me, I'm very sympathetic to it. But I'm also just an Iowa boy, and I really have no idea. Like I said, I'm obviously not going to get a cabinet seat. I have absolutely no idea what kind of opportunities in Washington would be available to me. I've spent extremely small amount of time in Washington, D.C.
Yeah. Well,
he's basically telling him he's unqualified. So I'm very interested to hear what he says next.
I can't go into specifics because, there's legal prohibitions about that.
Okay, that's where he won't say. Because he could have very well said, hey, you don't have to be qualified. Look at anybody in this shit.
If it's something that you want to work on together, there's other ways that you think you might be effective. You know, like I said, I will be your advocate.
That is wild. And you know, I bet that guy just held on to that and was like, you know, maybe I'll just sell this. I'm sure he sold that to the Washington Post, whoever recorded that, for sure. They got at least 100 grand for that, if not more. Not saying that that was the wrong thing to do, or I wouldn't do the same in that situation. Like, if I had a recording from somebody in the Trump administration, I mean, yeah, it's going to get out anyway. It's not like it's any different than releasing it for free. But I'm just saying, like, I wonder if he recorded that shit for the purpose of that, like, knowing that, you know, he was going to get an offer and be able to use it. I don't know why I'm playing out that scenario, but we also got Stephen Miller reacting to the birthright citizenship ruling, which is incredibly unhinged.
And here's another point. Here's a pretty good clue your constitutional interpretation is wrong. If your ruling requires you to suicide your civilization, your reading of the Constitution is wrong. President Grant and the congressmen in the 19th century did not want to create an automatic third world citizenship requirement for America. It's an abomination, but let's thank President Trump, because of President Trump's courage and leadership.
That was an interesting kind of like weird laugh he had when he was talking about the end of the Civil War. That was bizarre.
We are now on the precipice. Yes, we were dealt a setback, but because of his courage alone, we're on the precipice as a nation of being in a position to end this travesty once and for all. And that's what we have.
Yeah, like, I think he's like using some precedent that he thinks that Ulysses S. Grant set or something, and then he's twisting it to make it into a racist policy. And perhaps that's why he had that moment of smirking there. Let's just...
Your ruling requires you of the Constitution is wrong. President Grant and the congressmen in the 19th century did not want to create an automatic third world.
See, that was interesting. And the thing is like, one of the things that was supposed to be different about this country is that it was just welcoming to everybody. And people say, there's a limit for that, but that is overblown. Because we haven't even come close to hitting it. They blame house prices going up on immigrants while BlackRock is buying up more real estate than anybody. Bunch of rich people have 5 homes. You know, it's all just deflection away from that. And here's him talking about how he wants to ban pregnant women from the U.S.
Are we banning pregnant women from America? Are we banning foreign pregnant women?
Well, what I'm saying, Jesse, is that you have to now think very carefully about who you let into your country, even on a temporary basis, because the possibility, as you said, for birth tourism, right? The idea that people come here just to have babies on American soil, and that baby gets to be a citizen for life. So you have mothers that come in fully pregnant, have a baby, go home, and again, that baby gets Medicaid, and that baby gets welfare, and that baby gets cash assistance, and can send, leave the baby with, a cousin, a relative, whatever, and then just send welfare checks back home. You can support a whole family in the third world. So yes, you can't have the kinds of immigration programs other countries have when you can just have a baby here, and now that child is an American citizen. So there's a lot of things we're going to have to take a hard look at, Jesse.
Yeah, they can even get Trump accounts.
Thank you. Yeah, these people are crazy. They have lost it. And the language is super clear. That's why even the conservative judges ruled against them trying to overturn birthright citizenship. Because it's not even anything like you can argue that it wasn't intended to be this way. I do think all of the, like, what the founding fathers intended is, like, a very, like, religious kind of thing that I shouldn't be the be-all, end-all of everything, especially because that's the kind of language that they use to reverse Roe versus Wade. But it ended up working out in our favor in this circumstance. That is that is a good point. He did just kind of admit that welfare isn't enough to survive unless you're living in like a developing country that doesn't have that kind of that is in a different economy. Here's some other insanity that I saw, which would be funny if there wasn't like massive pushes right now to you know, force the Bible into schools and stuff like that. But this guy's saying that there's no such thing as church and state. No such thing as the separation of church and state. This guy that was in Trump's office last week.
So any government employee in any agency that has superior authority over someone and accuses them of violation of church and state has to write them a letter and explain to them where it is in the Constitution, because it's not in the Constitution, Charlie. Nice. And so that's what we're fighting for. And we have 12 recommendations to the president. We're going to clarify what the separation of church and state means. You know, the left has used this for 80 years. It was one sentence and one letter out of hundreds of letters that Thomas Jefferson wrote. And the people who use that, Charlie, they either don't know the Constitution, these superintendents, right, these generals in the Army, these people that run healthcare, whatever they are. They don't know it, Charlie, or they do know it, and they're pushing their own agenda to frighten people and quiet them. So any government employee in any agency.
So meanwhile, while they're talking like this, they are in Texas in particular. Passages from the Bible will now become required reading for public school students in Texas.
World events. The State Board of Education said the updated curriculum would, quote, give students a comprehensive understanding of the arc of history. But critics say the changes elevate historical disinformation and violate the separation of church and state. To help us understand these new guidelines and how they came about, we are joined by Jaden Edison. He's the public education reporter at the Texas Tribune. Jaden, thank you so much for being here. Let's start talking about the new requirement, the reading list. The State Board of Education said that this is a classical correction and that the previous curriculum, quote, resulted in generations of students who do not know the greatness of America or its greatest state, Texas. Now, opponents, as you've been reporting, argue that this is mostly straight white men coming at the expense of people of color and women. And then there are also these Bible passages. What should we know about this new reading list and specifically what it requires of students with regards to the Bible passages?
This is significant for a number of reasons. I think the biggest being that, for the first time, here in Texas, right, typically when we've seen the introduction, say, of lesson plans or materials here as recent as the last couple of years, those have been optional, right? And districts have had the opportunity to be able to adopt them or not adopt them and to adapt them to children as they see fit. But the final version that was just authorized effectively, again, is the state saying that children, as young as 6 years old, all the way up to preparing to, receive your high school diploma, will be required to engage with or read Bible passages. And again, that's significant. You look at Texas, right? One of the most diverse states in the nation, not along the lines of just race and ethnicity, but also along the lines of religion, right? Muslims, Buddhists, folks who are, not religious at all, right, will be mandated to engage with these materials that have now been required by the state. And so certainly this is extremely significant and something that will impact nearly 5.5 million children here in public schools in Texas.
We should also remind people that Texas also mandated the displaying of the Ten Commandments in all public schools. Opponents argue that this kind of biblical education does violate the separation between church and state.
It's crazy too, because there's all this talk from conservatives all the time about how they're brainwashing kids in school to be like to hate America. That's like a part of the impetus for this. And I mean, I'm a little bit older now, but I remember being completely brainwashed into America is the greatest. You need to be normal. You can't be a different kind of person at all. You need to conform, and you need to just be a good worker, and that's how it is. You need to go to college and then get a job, and that's what your life is going to be, unless you want to join the military and go kill people. And that's really and that's like a brave and good thing to do. And that is really all that I remember from the schools. I graduated in the mid 2000s. So, I think that maybe in that time after I graduated, probably maybe in the 2010s, there was a little bit of an effort to roll back some of that stuff, and actually teach more about the real history of slavery and racism and things like that. And maybe, a little bit more accepting of other religions in the conversations, or even just have no religion at all in some of these states, because I don't remember religion being a part of my curriculum, but I was also, in Pennsylvania. So I think that's like more of a southern state thing. But there is this battle of what children are going to believe. And everybody's always going to think whatever doesn't align with their values is brainwashing. But Bible verses, I think, are definitely a bridge too far.
How do supporters justify this? What do they argue is the reason for mandating this for all those students?
A lot of what you hear is what we've seen, really, religious scholars and historians, dispute, especially in recent years, is this belief that, America was founded as a Christian nation. And so therefore, all of its laws and policies and practices, specifically as you think about education and the role that plays in developing, young citizens, all those institutions should reflect, Christian values and beliefs. And that's, what they have said and what they have argued. And it's also this belief that children cannot learn about, say, for example, Western civilization and European tradition without knowing stories, laid out in the Bible. And so you talk to historians, you talk to educators, you talk to people of various faith traditions, races, ethnicities. Certainly those things are contested, but obviously, that has been a lot of the rationale for a lot of these policy changes. You look at the last few years and, this feeling that from conservative advocates and Republican leaders here in the state that schools are training kids to hate the country because of how they depict America's history of racism and slavery.
Let's talk about those changes in social studies. That was a very contentious process. Explain those changes and how they will impact students.
I think about these things in tandem, right? And what we're talking about is a complete rewrite and overhaul of the way Texas has historically taught social studies, right? And what we're seeing now is a very Texas-centric, American-centric, American exceptionalism-centric lesson approach. This new approach, right, is in chronological order, but also currently students who are in 6th grade, they attend a world cultures class, right, which teaches them about the various governments and traditions of different cultures, throughout the world. It's in the name. Well, that course has been eliminated. Certainly, again, a dramatic overhaul of the way things have been taught in Texas, and obviously the way things will be taught for years to come.
Yeah, there's definitely a big battle for this. And I still think even with the changes that may have come after I graduated to make schools more progressive, it was still extremely nationalistic. Like, maybe in a more liberal sense, you know what I mean? But where they kind of, you know, they make up the lies to justify U.S. foreign policy and how we're bombing people for peace and how we're spreading democracy and all that, instead of just we take things by force and that's good. It's more of a thing like, oh yeah, we used to take things by force in the past, and then we've learned from that, and we're much better now. I feel like that is the kind of like, and really what that is that's a reframing of the propaganda for a new generation, because the new generation is not going to be acceptable to the old generation and propaganda, because there's been some progress in terms of values. So you got to update the propaganda. But now a lot of the old people get mad and be like, hey, you're not teaching it right. And it's like, yo, you're not getting it. You're gonna mess up the propaganda even more. But I guess that ends up being a good thing because less people will buy into the bullshit. But then again, I've kind of gotten nervous about giving people too much credit in that regard. There's this one video that's going viral from this church in Kentucky. Let's see if I can find the video. Yeah, here it is. They like are staging an execution with people in military fatigues, and like there's all these children like happily cheering, saying like get him. And then the pastor responded to it. I haven't seen his response yet, but I did see the video, so we'll watch the video first, and then we'll check out his response.
Take me out, blow him up. Take me out, blow him up.
They're all yelling, take him out, blow him up. It's like all children in that room. I'm assuming it's like whoever they are casting as a terrorist or something like that. We'll see what the pastor of the place responds.
Gotta love this. I've been thinking about this all day. 1, 2, 3, 4. What's after 4? 5, 6. What's after 6? 7.
Ridiculous. No, these people are psychotic and in a cult.
And a good day to you, my friends, and just a thought from the pastor.
Oh no, this is 7 minutes long. I don't know if I'm gonna make it through this. Like, all right.
Study. I want to address this firestorm concerning the clip that's been sent, I guess, everywhere. I'm quite frankly befuddled. The misinformation out there is sad. And I guess it's a part of what this generation has become. And concerning the clip that has been shared, it was nothing more than a small part of our Vacation Bible School. For 32 years, Vacation Bible School, we have characters every year that represent good and right and God. And we have characters that represent evil and wrong and that which should be avoided.
See, and the problem with this shit is they are encouraging children to want to do violence over people that they perceive as evil. And if that is anybody that these religious people perceive as evil, it is like anybody who is not exactly like them.
We every year, through skits and songs and games and just a lot of fun, we make church a fun place, a happy place, a place where we hate sin, but we love the sinner, a place where we exalt Jesus.
It didn't look like they loved that sinner.
And we hate the devil. I think you'd be in agreement that we shouldn't love the devil. I think we're all in agreement that there's such a thing as spiritual warfare, a battle going on behind the scenes that we can't see with physical eyes. We here have a very serious addiction ministry, have for years, reaching those that have been broken by drugs and alcohol, some horrible addiction that's taken from them everything that's good. And we welcome them to come and we give them the truth that Jesus loves them, that the devil does hate them. They can be forgiven, can get a new life, can start.
What is this shit? That's why I sped it up.
Over. And it's been one of the themes of our church. I think of how many times I've visited a jail and I leave there heartbroken.
He's still, I wonder if he's going to say who the character was. It seemed to be like some kind of like representation of war.
Over what sin and Satan has done to that poor person, and pray that God, I pray they let you change their life. And every year for 32 years, we've had this evil against good in our Vacation Bible School. The last several years, we've had the Commandos for Christ that has the gospel gun. It's
the Commandos for Christ and the gospel gun. Okay, this is the part I was looking for.
Answer for the devil, the gospel and the word of God. It's the answer. The clip you saw was simply killing the devil. I'll be honest with you, if I could kill the devil every day and raise him up and kill him again, I'd do it. He's the one we hate. We're not allowed by God to hate anybody else, not even our enemies. And that's all that clip was.
Yeah, but then you just call everybody the devil.
Now, you may not like how we did it. You may not like we used those air rifles. They're basically paintball guns. And maybe you're right, maybe we're wrong.
There are many different styles and you know, ways of thinking about Christianity. And there are many people who believe in the actual, you know, peaceful teachings and all that stuff. And I've worked with many of them in the anti-war movement. And, you know, many of them are great people. I have an issue with the ones who like use it as an excuse to hate people and, you know, use it as an excuse to hate other religions and get very militaristic about it and shit. You know, that's my issue.
But understand, we're painting a real picture to kids visibly, what's going on invisibly. And we use all week to teach them, tell the truth, don't tell a lie. Work hard, don't be lazy. Clean up after yourself, don't expect somebody.
So the Commandos for Christ, man, that is even worse than I thought it was. And I mean, I know that those stains appear like pretty quickly on those. Actually, not really. I've had these in here for like 10 years and I don't have anything like that going on. But You would think you would just find another place to record this video.
Else to do it. Love your mom and dad. Don't disobey them. Honor everybody. Love everybody. Love God. But hate sin because it'll hurt you. And hate the devil who tries to influence you to sin. That's...
Yeah, I think he's done talking about the Commandos for Christ. But that is out of control. Yeah, I mean, it is. There are a lot of people that have had very rough childhoods in situations like that. Or even just, you know, having religion be used as an excuse for child abuse. This video here apparently aired in February, but everybody's just finding out about it now. This confirmation of Hannibal Directive on October 7th. Hannibal Directive is, of course, the code word that the IDF uses for when they are going to kill their own people. Because they don't want prisoners to be taken. This has been a pretty long-standing and well-supported theory, but to have footage from inside this war room where these high-level IDF officials are talking about implementing the Hannibal Directive.
הייתי עכשיו מפציץ את כולכם ברצועה עם ארטילריה, דופק להם מכה על מנת שיהיה להם בעיה. ממש להם על זה. כתבתי את זה לאמיר. הם לא מעלים מזכרים, התרופה שלי.
Let me read it and mute it. Right now, I would bomb the entire Gaza border with artillery. This is knowing that there are hostages being taken across the border. Hit them with a blow so they'd have a real problem. It looks like they're on it. I wrote this to Amir. They're not even getting fighter helicopters in the air. You think they're in on it? No, on Gaza, break it all apart, along with the soldiers who got abducted. Wow. Straight up. These are the first moments in the police command center, even before the minister in charge arrives. Is that Ben-Gvir? Yep. Before it is decided what will be broadcast and what will be censored. Oh my God. This 30-second video. Wait, are you filming me? You could film when I give you permission. And it's like, yo, we already said some ugly shit in this room. Ben-Gvir comes in and tells him to turn off the camera. Holy shit. Wow. I'm surprised he probably didn't know what was being discussed in there prior. That is wild. And this aired in Israel months ago. I guess it's just getting translated and reaching the public now in the US for some reason. Because I had not seen this. And I stay pretty up on this. Yeah, Jesus did, he wasn't a fan of the organized, religions and, like, taking people's personal connection away from that. I wrote about this with, Derek Brose and the Conscious Resistance. Yeah, I mean, this is, like, the command room for the, police and the IDF that Ben Gvir was reporting into, and they're talking about we should hit the whole border with artillery, we should take out our own like, he just straight up said our own soldiers too, with the soldiers that they took. That is huge. I'm sure no media will cover it, but in the new Nuremberg trials, this will be evidence. See what we got. Got some data center stuff here. This one story I saw before I came on, there's this town with 37 data centers in Virginia. So here's this thing. There's this area in Virginia known as Data Center Alley, and it has some of the it has the biggest, densest condensation or the biggest, densest area of data centers in the US, and there's a lot of problems there. They're asking the area to conserve electricity now, including schools. And this is one of the like most packed areas for data centers in the country, and it's weird because it's where all the defense contractors are. You know what I mean? And I've talked about this in a lot of my videos about data centers, is that in all, I know a lot of the AI companies are based in the US, but even in China, where they do AI a little bit differently, which I think is a little bit less processing power, but they have far fewer data centers than we do for a lot more people. And they still say we need to build more and more. And so much of it seems to be around the defense industry. And then when activists kind of started to come after the data centers, people like Kevin O'Leary was saying this is a national defense initiative. You can't mess with this. So first of all, before I even talk about like the consistency of the story with all the power diversion, I do want to point out that it is highly suspicious that the biggest concentration of data, that's the word I was looking for, concentration. The biggest concentration of data centers in the country is in the defense industry place, in the defense industry area. Wow, they're trying to get away with a trailer park in Archbold, PA to make room for a dozen data centers. Yeah, they are using a lot of eminent domain around the country to take away people's houses too. On June 26th, the county manager of Henrico County, Virginia, John Vasakis, sent an email to thousands of county employees asking them to help the local government conserve electricity. Beginning July 1st, the rate we pay for electricity used in all Henrico County government and school facilities will increase dramatically by 25%, increasing costs by an estimated $5 million next fiscal year. We anticipate more rate increases for electricity in the years ahead. Henrico County is a community of more than 35 or 350,000 people in Eastern Virginia, just outside of Richmond. It also hosts 37 data centers and there are plans to build 17 more, including plans to convert hundreds of acres of Civil War battlefields into data centers. Okay, this is a little bit south of Data Center Alley, I believe, or whatever it's called. So when I heard Virginia, I just assumed it, but it's still kind of, my point still stands about the large concentration of data centers in that area a bit north of here. Really? Bong hits for Jesus trending? I'm the I don't know if that's for real, but if so, I support it. Yeah, she is. Erin Brockovich, she is back on that, which is awesome. Good for her. I think she's gonna bring some attention to it. Let me see real quick. I'm gonna go grab myself another drink real quick, but I'm gonna go. Wow, that's loud. I'm gonna start this video about some vandalism that's been hitting the flock cameras. I consider data centers to be in the same bracket of conversation as this surveillance stuff because I really do think that they're connected. Thanks for joining. Wait. I didn't share. Let's see. I tried to get Bubbles to come down and she came down and she like looked at me like, "Where's my treat?" And I gave her a treat and she ran back upstairs. So,
you drove by just a few days ago, you may have noticed flock cameras standing here off of Reliance Road, but now they've been cut down completely at their base. Many first noticing the cameras laying on the ground and across the sidewalk just yesterday.
This camera's been out here on my front yard for several years, and I understand what it does. But yesterday morning, I come out, and it's laying across the sidewalk on the ground, and somebody looked like to cut it off with a hacksaw and just laid it there.
At least 2 cameras were the target of this vandalism, located less than a mile apart from each other. Flock cameras operate as automated license plate readers, often used by law enforcement agencies to investigate or deter crimes. But use of these cameras has generated mixed feelings.
I pretty much knew immediately that somebody must be mad, right? Because that's not a usual circumstance. And so there's a lot of controversy, I think, lately on Facebook about flock cameras.
But for those who saw the cameras cut, the priority was clearing the hazard.
And so I just wanted to make sure that, number one, that we could get the cameras preserved or to safety, and that they were out of the way because that one was across the sidewalks.
It's unclear what the potential charges could be for vandalizing these flock cameras. A police report for these 2 has been filed.
It's just disappointing that these things happen. It's like people get mad about different topics, and it's kind of part of life these days. And there's
people get mad about different topics, and it's just a part of life that you're being surveilled every minute of every day, and that people have been wrongfully targeted for these things. Police have been using them to stalk women that they know and women that they don't know too. Very, very crazy behavior. Some cops have like gotten fired or in trouble for it, but I know it's more widespread than that.
No sense in being destructive to try and get your point across.
Officials encourage if you see something, say something.
I was doing job hunt earlier in the week, right? And in addition to journalist jobs, I'm also just looking for copywriting jobs too, which really don't exist anymore because of AI, but you know, it's on my watch list. I saw a listing for Flock. They're looking for a copywriter. I thought it would be funny to apply for it just as like a joke and as a like like the people who applied for ICE to try to get more information out of them. But then I was worried that they're going to surveil me. A lot of people have been hitting these Flock cameras though. Not only that, I'm actually kind of shocked that some towns have actually been able to fight back against these. Other towns have been told it's non-negotiable, like you can't get rid of these. But there has been some success in some places. I feel like some local governments are more corrupt than others.
Starts now.
Cameras Cleveland police use to track suspected criminals are set to go dark at the end of this month. Thanks for joining us on 19 News and streaming on 19 News Plus. I'm Caitlin McCarthy. The city's public safety committee voting to block the renewal of the Flock contract. Keith Grant learning tonight it could come back up for a vote.
Wednesday's vote blocking the renewal of Cleveland's $250,000 Flock contract was nearly unanimous. Councilman Mike Polensek, the only member in support. He told 19 News on Sunday he's spoken with Council President Blaine Griffin, who's weighing two options, a full council vote or returning it to the Public Safety Committee with more data on the camera's use. Now, you can find Flock cameras mounted on poles across the city. A small box-shaped camera with a solar panel about the size of a pizza box mounted above it, capturing the license plate, color, make, and model of every passing vehicle.
Everybody that's watching this like local news thing is like taking notes, like, okay, what do they look like? How do I get to them?
Does that go into the national database?
To the chair, since we are enrolled in National Lookup, yes.
Okay.
Critics at Wednesday's meeting raising concerns about privacy and the potential for data to be shared with federal immigration authorities. Police say they...
Yup. So even these towns that say that they're against ICE and that they're not helping ICE, do they have Flock?
Use Flock cameras thousands of times each month.
We would lose one of the most valuable investigative tools we have right now.
Police say Flock supports violent crime investigation, stolen vehicle recovery, missing persons cases, and leads in hit-skip crashes. But council members want proof it's working.
If we are going to authorize cameras, then doggone it, they've got to work for us.
Polensek put...
That sounds like capitulation.
Pushing through an amendment requiring Flock's data stay exclusively with Cleveland.
Flock Safety shall not sell, share, publish, or exchange any data.
That amendment passing, and 1 minute later, the contract renewal failed anyway. Cleveland has 100 of these Flock cameras across the city that are set to go dark June 29th, unless the city council president sets a special vote before that deadline. Keith Grant.
I hope they go dark for good. Like a lot of them are chopping them down. The other thing about them is they have valuable metals on them. You know what I mean? So like if you're in collecting scrap metal, but I would say you're probably looking at additional charges at that point, and they'd probably be able to hunt you down. Like metal is hard to track. That's why it's famous for, it being scrapped. But I feel like once you start messing with it more, like if you just walk by and take a chainsaw to it, it's not, I condemn, I do not support these actions, but still, you're gonna, that is a much easier way to get away with it. You're gonna get caught if you be trying to steal the metals in there, as much as it is fun to joke about. That's why you just got to do it for the love of the game, The wires are not cut, just the pole. Interesting. I talked about last week these cops. This was cops in the UK last week, and then there was another case with cops in the US, I think, using AI to fake a bust. And right here, they got caught trying to post this video, which was apparently AI. I don't know how somebody found out because it looks fairly legit. Oh yeah, they do look pretty bad. Okay. Oh, okay. So if you cut the pole but not the wire, the charges are less. Okay. That's interesting. Yeah, the 20 on here does look kind of crazy. Hey. There's also been one of the big things this week has been this stupid movie, Citizen Vigilante. About this guy that went around killing Muslims and accused them all of being sexual predators. And, you know, just like not even trying to make it look justifiable. Like he was straight up killing innocent people in it. And they were all cheering it on. And it turns out that it was like distributed by a company run by Israelis. But it was big this week, and Elon Musk ended up sharing it, and that's what boosted it. And you know, there was a like I don't even want to show any of it on any of the clips on YouTube. Let's see what the Surfs had to say about it, though. I like this dude's analysis. Oh yeah, and it was starring Armie Hammer, who has been in trouble for like horrific sexual assaults and has been accused of being a cannibal by his victims. And this is like his return to the movies.
leaked text that showed that he wants to like barbecue their ribs and eat them. Like Armie got canceled for being a horrifying human, of which like, oh God, that guy wasn't just playing a psycho on TV. He's an actual psycho. And in this movie, I guess like, you know, finally teaming up together with acclaimed director Uwe Boll, they decided that, yes, I want to use his like most like Norman Bates kind of shit energy in this. And there are parts of the movie where I'm just like, is this even a movie? Because knowing what I know now about Armie Hammer, are you just filming him in his house? And is this just his day? He's like, okay, now what would you like me to do for the film and the shot? Could you maybe like blink? I'll get to that. It's quite difficult. Can I talk about how the Muslims are arriving into our country and poisoning the blood of the nation? How they need to be strangled before white women will lose their innocence? How the blood of the black Somali immigrant, like, sure, yeah, sounds good. Yeah, you do that, and I make a plot or something around. Leaked text that showed that he wants to like barbecue their ribs and eat them. Like Armie got canceled for being a horrifying.
Yeah, look at this. This is when he got, let's see.
Armie Hammer is finally speaking out in depth about the allegations of cannibalism, sexual misconduct, and an accusation of rape that
This was just 2 years ago, and now he's starring in a trash B film produced by racist psychos and promoted by Elon Musk. I know that was redundant.
ended his career 3 years ago. Hammer appeared on the Painful Lessons podcast with host and personal friend Tyler Ramsey, saying that ultimately he is grateful for the entire experience. The actor's career was at an all-time high following praise in 2017's Call Me By Your
I thought it was going to be his response where he was saying that he was grateful for it. See, look, Armie Hammer says cannibalism accusation caused a career death, but he's grateful for every single bit of it. People called me a cannibal and everyone believed them. They're like, yup, that guy ate people. Like, what? What are you talking about? Do you know what you have to do to be a cannibal? You have to eat people. How am I going to be a cannibal? It was bizarre. I mean, this was pre Epstein files too. So this was before like that was in the ether, you know what I mean? Before it was in the popular consciousness. And now they're talking about this guy making another movie. It happens like every couple years. They come out with some piece of propaganda that they try to turn into like a new birth of a nation or something like that. Oh yeah, I also wanted to get to this prison uprising situation. The video I have on it is a few days old, so let me see if I could find something newer. A couple prisoners took over and took a few correctionals officers hostage. My immediate thinking is that conditions are bad in there. It's summer, probably no air conditioner in North Carolina. You know, these kind of uprisings are always sparked by bad conditions. It looks like only right-wing media is interested in covering this, so it's going to be from their perspective. But the prison said like we're dealing with the issues that they, you know, raised or whatever like that. So they didn't say what the issues were when I looked into it yesterday. But let's see what's going on.
The takeover has ended.
I have a feeling that this News Nation clip is going to be like so much propaganda.
Inmates took over the Bertie Martin Regional Jail. As you can see there, onlookers shouting as inmates were moved after they overpowered 3 guards inside and took control of the facility. That then turned into a hostage situation. The North Carolina State Bureau of Investigation confirming this afternoon that the takeover has ended, and that all 88 inmates and 3 guards, 88 and 3 were safe. Some minor injuries reported. Joining us now is the Bernie County Sheriff, Tyrone Ruffin, on what happened there inside his community today. Sheriff, thanks for being with us. We are so glad that the officer...
Does bro need to wear his tactical vest on camera?
And the law enforcement there are doing just fine. Tell us, how did this start, and how did those officers make it through?
Yes, sir. So this morning, around 5 o'clock this morning, we received a call from the jail that that the inmates had took over the jail, and that it was two correctional officers that had been held hostage. After long hours, we sent in SWAT, and some of the inmates were able to get out. We was able to get the correctional officers out, and I am relieved to report that the situation concluded safely with minimal injuries.
How did the inmates, I mean, it's stunning to hear the words, take over the jail and hold the correctional officers hostage? How did that happen?
Yes, sir. So this is a regional jail. So the county sheriff here of Bertie is not over the jail, or the county sheriff of Martin County is not over the jail. So as we are early in the investigation, a lot of those answers will have to come from the regional jail staff. And once we can do interviews and investigations, hopefully those answers will come out. Again, the county sheriff of Bertie is not over the regional jail, but the jail is in my county.
Got it. Here's...
They couldn't get somebody relevant to discuss the situation.
The FBI director, Kash Patel, he says...
I mean, it is probably because nobody wants to talk. Like, it's been very hard to find anything on this beyond the first clip that I saw the other day.
Thanks to the FBI there in Charlotte and the hostage team and our partners at the Bertie County Sheriff's Office, which is yourself, and more, who responded quickly here, seen and secure, and all inmates are accounted for. Can you tell us what led to the hostage team being sent into that jail?
Yes, well, we had two correctional officers. We honestly did not know what the situation was inside right now. We do not know what the inmates were requesting. We're unfolding those things at this moment. And as far as we know, that as the correctional officers were going in to let the inmates out for today, they were bum rushed by the inmates. And that's where it all began. And we had deputies that was on scene within 2 minutes, and they were not able to get inside of the facility due to the doors being locked. So we set a perimeter and we waited for our resources to get here. We had over 20 law enforcement agencies or more here, anywhere across from North Carolina and Virginia.
Wow. And thank goodness those officers, again, it was 3 inside, 88 inmates, are doing just fine, as you heard there from the
Guy's trying to figure out his camera there.
Sheriff Tyrone Ruffin there in the eastern part of North Carolina tonight. Sheriff, thank you so much. We appreciate it, sir.
So look at this. Inspections show years of chronic problems at Eastern North Carolina jail taken over by inmates. Inmates gained control of the Bertie Martin Regional Jail, including holding 2 staff members hostage for hours. Investigators are now trying to figure out what led up to the jail takeover and how it could have been prevented. Inspection reports show that the jail has had chronic problems for years. Let's see. The takeover at Bertie did not surprise Luke Woolward, a staff attorney of the advocacy who focuses on prisons and jails. Saw the jail capacity and where their staffing was. It was unfortunately surprising that something like this would happen. It wasn't unfortunately surprising that something like this would happen. Okay, so now they're just talking about the understaffing. Disability Rights North Carolina found jails fail around 62% of their inspections, and that number hasn't improved over the years. While some violations are minor, like fixing a loose door handle, others are potentially dangerous, according to Woolward. A lot of them very serious reasons like overcrowding, not making supervisioned rounds to make sure inmates are safe. I mean, the heat conditions are also insane right now. You know, because this is the dead of like the middle of summer, and so many of these places don't have any AC. Is that... I'm trying to look for North Carolina on this list. There we go. No, I'm looking at this prison journalism project map. It looks like there are facilities in North Carolina that are having heat issues right now, but this doesn't seem to be one of them. Or at least none reported anyway. Good to see you. Thanks for joining. Yeah, I'm going to be doing these live, these longer weekly live streams at least once a week. If there's a big story, then I'll come on more than once a week, you know? But this allows me to focus a little bit more on the bigger videos. And also, I think a longer live stream is a little bit better anyway. But yeah, I'm very interested to find what their list of demands were. I'm sure they had some. I'm sure this wasn't just a spontaneous, like, let's take the prison for a joyride kind of situation. Let's see. We have one of the 15 people who were just arrested in Minnesota speaking out about his arrest. These are one of the people who are being charged with like conspiracy and terrorism and all this stuff, even though they weren't actually doing anything. This is quite similar to the charges that we just saw in Prairieland, except for in the case of Prairieland, a cop was actually shot at a protest. The person who shot the cop said that he was just shooting at the ground and the bullet ricocheted and hit the cop, and evidence showed that that was correct. The reason why he was firing on the ground was because he saw a cop pointing a gun at a protester and believed that he was about to shoot and was taking a stance like he was about to shoot. And the cop pretty much admitted that in court. But like a bunch of other people that had nothing to do with that shooting, had nothing to do with that dude, are also getting charged very serious terrorism and conspiracy charges. In this case in Minnesota, there was no violent act, there was no cop hurt, and 15 people are getting scooped up anyway.
A 36-year-old healthcare worker and an activist living here in St. Paul, Minnesota. I was one of 15 people indicted on conspiracy charges for activity related to protesting ICE. They broke down this door. They broke into our garage. They dragged Cal out of bed in their underwear, and they took 3 cell phones and a computer out of my room. And then an hour later, they came and got me at my girlfriend's house in Minneapolis. And when I was over there, I knew they were coming before they were there, not only because they had already taken my roommates, but because I heard the sound of whistles and her neighbors were outside already following them. And I just want to say that's exactly what these charges are about. It's not about conspiracy to impede. It's not about interstate stalking. It's not about any of that. It's about quelling dissent in Minneapolis, and it's about coming after the movement that rose up against ICE during Metro Surge in December and January. If the things that I'm accused of doing are part of a criminal conspiracy, then 350,000 people who participated in the resistance here would also have to be part of that conspiracy. This is a naked attempt to silence our voices, to squash dissent, and to have a chilling effect on organizing here in the Twin Cities. And I'm here to tell you it's not going to work. People in the community here are smart. They're resilient. They have an indomitable will. And I have every faith that they're going to keep fighting. This is an attempt by the government to drive a wedge in between good protesters and bad protesters and try to shave off the radical flank of the movement and paint.
That is a very, very good point. So often they divide us by our differences in tactics and the ways that we want to achieve different the same ends, essentially. That's why I am less worried about those kind of differences these days, and I'm more willing to see people who have different perspectives on solutions as, you know, strong allies, as long as they're pointing in the right direction. You know what I mean? You know, I still support good efforts that are even doing things in ways that I would not agree with or even consider ethical. Like, you know, whether it's engaging in politics or breaking a window, you know what I mean? Not that I have that much of a problem with the window. Or the politics really at this point, because I understand in the situation that we're dealing with, it is a tool at our disposal. But I do think that is a very good point. And in the video that I put out a couple days ago on the history of anarchist persecution, I talked about how in COINTELPRO, you know, when we got those documents, it showed that that was one of the things that they did, is that they played off on the small differences between activist groups and, you know, forced them kind of into their own camps as much as possible.
That's like we're different from everybody else. But we're not. There's nothing that we're accused of doing that hundreds of thousands of people here in Twin Cities didn't do when these jackbooted thugs were kicking in our doors and kidnapping our immigrant neighbors. They took one of my coworkers from the gas station while she was pumping gas, a grandmother of 3, and she's still in detention in El Paso, Texas right now. So my arraignment's going to be July 1st. I understand. I'm going to go in there. I'm going to plead not guilty.
That's today.
As a condition of my release, the judge put a no contact order on us, so I'm not allowed to talk to any of my co-defendants, with the exception of Cal, because we're housemates. So obviously I can't be as involved as I would like in coordinating my own defense, as we're only allowed to talk through our lawyers right now. We have a strong support committee. We have, you know, hundreds of people behind us who are supporting us and are doing work behind the scenes. My role right now is just to keep my head up, to stay in solidarity with my co-defendants. I plan to refuse any plea deals that aren't offered to everybody. This is not a normal criminal trial. This is a political case. This is political repression against organizers. And this is a case that's going to be won in the political realm. So the context for what's happening to us here.
I'm looking to see if there's any news on what's happening with this case today, but I haven't seen it yet, or anything that says what time the hearing was supposed to be.
is that it's happening at the same time as a national wave of political repression. All of these NSPM 7 so-called Antifa cases are a naked attempt to silence dissent and attack the regime's political opponents. The FBI has been visiting people who are at Delaney Hall. We've got the Spokane 3 case. Charges were recently dropped against the Broadview 6, but the ruling in the first NSPM 7 case, the Prairie Land case in Dallas and Fort Worth, Texas. Judge Pittman there, I understand, said out loud, I'm giving all of you the longest possible sentence to send a message to anyone else who might share your political beliefs. So they're not even trying to dress it up as anything else. This is like naked, blatant political repression. We are living in an authoritarian country now. Look, if you want to support us, the best thing you can do for me and my co-defendants, more so than protesting for us, more so than donating money to our fundraiser, more so than any of that, is just to keep doing what you're doing. Stay out there. Keep doing all the legal observing against ICE that is lawful and is effective and is the reason they're cracking down on us in the first place. It's to stop you from doing that. So I want you to get out there, keep doing what you're doing. If we allow these charges to have their intended chilling effect, then ICE and Homeland Security will have won, and we can't allow that to happen. We need our supporters to stay.
Yeah, I agree. I think that we shouldn't let this get like very, very eloquent things he said there between, them trying to divide good protesters from bad protesters, splinter the movement, and trying to, just put a chilling effect on protests in general and target their political enemies when they're trying to do a whole bunch of messed up stuff. Last week, I talked about how they visited a woman in Syracuse in the middle of, she worked at a polling place, which I think that there was a double purpose for them doing that for sure. And they confronted her about a social media post that she made months ago about how, I think it was, she just posted the name of the man who shot Renee Good, but she wasn't even the first person to share it. She shared a news story or she shared something like it was a good day for him to be indicted or something like that. Now there's another case where this guy has been visited by ICE over an email that he sent to the former ICE director where he compared what ICE was doing to Nazi Germany.
David Strever says he was on vacation with his daughter in Finland when the unthinkable happened.
I get a notification on my phone from our doorbell camera that someone's rung the doorbell. And I look at it and it looks kind of like law enforcement.
That law enforcement turned out to be ICE agents.
She said, why are you looking for my husband? And the agent said, he may or may not have sent an email threatening the director of ICE.
Strever says he sent the email to the former director of ICE, Todd Lyons, in January, days after ICE agents were accused of shooting and killing Alex Preddy and Renee Good. He says the email was fueled by a mixture of emotions and, in a way, regrets sending it in the first place. But it's what happened last week that really raised his eyebrows.
Why come after me Thursday night when I've just flown home from Finland? And I'm with a 7-year-old and we're probably jet lagged and exhausted.
I did reach out to the Department of Homeland Security,
Yeah.
And they said that they treat, any type of threat to ICE agents very seriously. Do you think your email was a threat?
Not at all. Not at all. There's nothing in the email about anything I'm going to.
Let's see what this says. You are a monstrous human being and will go down in history as America's Reinhard Henrik the Butcher. The way you are protecting the obvious execution in Minnesota, even as we see the videos, will lead to your downfall. Even Trump will turn on you before the end. That prediction has been proved correct. And you will be a sad, depressed man who eats himself alive with the shame at your own pathetic weakness. You will never know peace. You will seek to lose yourself to escape the burden of knowing the truth about yourself. But wherever you go, you will find yourself. You will torment yourself until your last day on earth. That doesn't sound like a threat at all. That just sounds like, I hope that karma gets you and these actions eat you alive for the rest of your life and that you have some guilt about it.
To anyone. It just makes no sense to me. If you're going to treat me that way, it doesn't give me any confidence that you're actually looking to be fair.
Yeah, they're majorly cracking down on free speech, I'm telling you. But hey, you can say slurs on Twitter now, so everything's fine. It's ridiculous. Yeah, I did forget to mention that even though there was that win with the birthright citizenship, the Supreme Court also is allowing, on the other end, the Trump administration to end legal protections for migrants that were fleeing violence and natural disasters in Haiti and Syria. You know, at a time when it's very dangerous for them to return, and there's no good reason to do it except for, their obvious eugenics plan. And ICE has been like on a rampage recently. It hasn't been in the news a lot, but they have definitely been on a rampage. Let me actually get to some of that. Apparently, they've been hitting a lot of like World Cup people too, which they're probably scooping up a lot of tourists as well.
This from many local news stations in Kansas City, but since the World Cup started, ICE has been absolutely fucking hammering immigrant populations all across the city, from the northeast to Olathe and KCK. Just this morning, they did an entire dragnet, arrested every single person in an agua fresca stand in Olathe. Please don't fucking ever forget that our government is hunting people down because of their skin color and the languages that they speak. If you've taken a rapid response class, if you've taken any kind of training in Kansas City, please reinvest and tap back into those communities. People need your help right now. We're not showing up for them in the ways that we should.
Here in Oklahoma, they stopped these U.S. citizens and tried to force them to show proof of citizenship.
Vente. We are American citizens, baby. Hey, you see the van? Hey, vente. Hey, vente. American citizens, babies. No va porque ven una vez.
I'm surprised they didn't get tased.
Puro Guanajuato, la verga. Woo! Okay, bye, babies. American citizens, putos, a la verga. Estamos manejando una vez, a la verga. Puto ice, a la verga, era.
I bet that was probably scary as hell. There's this one guy driving around, and many times they're driving around with no license plate on. In this one, they do a drive-by pepper spray. I feel like that's a new move they invented. Like, I've seen cops do a lot. Usually cops will just run you over with their car or some shit. But the drive-by pepper spray, I feel like it's a new move they invented. I mean, I was writing about police brutality for so many years. I don't remember seeing drive-by pepper sprays like this. Because it's like every other video I see. They're like shooting people out the car with the pepper spray.
Get out of here, bitch. Get back, get back. What's good, bro?
I guess they tracked him down and found out what his personal vehicle was. But he's just driving around without a license plate. I guess he's like a sovereign citizen. Like back in the day when the people used to have the cardboard license plate and say if they said the magic words to the cop, they won't get pistol whipped. See, here's another one. This guy goes up onto one of these cars, sees that it doesn't have a license plate on it, and then the guy chases him.
There's just plastic on this plate. There's genuinely nothing.
It looked exactly like the plate on that blue car that pepper sprayed the dude.
See, there's a cord.
Get away from my vehicle. Get away from my vehicle.
I am getting away.
Get away.
Get
Get away.
I am getting
Get
away.
away.
He just tried to trip me.
Get away.
I'm backing
Get away.
up. I am backing
Get
up.
away.
I am actively backing up. He stepped on my foot, so I tripped and had his hand on his taser or gun. There's just plastic on this plate.
Yeah, that's another trick that they do, is that they trip you intentionally and then they act like, oh, you're resisting, you're moving erratically. There's an excuse to shoot or tase you. Here's a guy just like pointing his gun at somebody from in the middle of an intersection.
Honk! Oh my god! Oh my god!
I think that guy ended up getting in trouble for it. I mean, I don't disagree with the arguments of the sovereign citizens that we should be free and that they don't have jurisdiction over us, but it doesn't matter anymore because we have no rights. They just say whatever and make up whatever and then they throw you in jail. So now this is a checkpoint set up, in the middle of the country that's asking you for your papers, please.
Hey, how are you?
Good, how are y'all?
Good, we're just checking for license.
Oh, mine is somewhere in this car.
Okay.
It's in my purse thing. Sorry, I just got snow busy.
Let me take off my seatbelt.
Where's my?
Right here.
Oh.
Can you roll up your window, please?
Yeah.
Why you got dark teeth? Roll it back up.
Why do I have dark teeth?
That's how you bought it.
I bought it. This was a sheriff's store. Cause I got in a wreck, so it's different colors.
You got insurance?
Yeah, I do.
All right, get 10 taken off, all right?
Okay. Thanks.
And that is cops just checking for IDs. That isn't even ICE either. ICE seems to be in the background. That looks to be them right there, I think. But that's sketch.
It's fine.
Take it.
But y'all stop. I don't know. And they know it's me. They're doing a group.
And one of the things that I talked about is that yeah, but none of that matters. Like, so if she didn't have private insurance and she still said, like, you don't have jurisdiction over me, and she said all the magic words, he still would have ripped her out of the car and threw her in a cage. None of these cops pay attention to any of that. One of the things that I talked about in my video like yesterday that I released, and the article that I put out on Substack, is that the current situation that we have now where, you know, they're locking people up against their will, and there seems to be this very racist project that's happening, obviously is not anything new. We locked up, or the United States government locked up the Japanese population of the United States, large portions of them, during World War II. And many of the same facilities that held people, that people were held in then, are active now. I just don't like, I don't think that that happens anymore. I know that there's been a few cases like where it did. I just like, I feel like that would be, we would need to have a legit legal system. There are so many people that have tried to use those defenses and ended up in jail. I mean, I remember that thing, that was huge, like, you know, 20 years ago, 15 years ago, it was like, you know, a lot of people were going around with them license plates, like the cardboard ones, and they were doing all that stuff. They were even going to homes and claiming homes that were you know, that were bought by the banks or whatever, and where nobody was staying in. And then they just cracked, they had this massive crackdown. I saw this other story on ICE as well. Another like Trump corruption situation. He purchased up to $5 million shares in Axon Enterprises, which manufactures 90% of all tasers. On February 24th, 2 weeks later, ICE opens up a $220 million contract for tasers, requesting specifications that mirror Axon's top taser models. Let's see this. President Trump disclosed buying between 1 million and 5 million in Axon Enterprises. Yeah, exactly. Like, that's the thing. We're in a situation where there is just brute force. There is not, I mean, try every legal avenue. I'm not like discounting it. I'm just saying that, like, know the risks, you know what I mean? With every legal path that you try to take, that we are not playing with people who play by the rules. And they will do everything they can to get people behind bars, just like they did with this case in Prairieland. They prevented that one guy from Benjamin Song, they prevented him from making a self-defense claim. And you should be able to do that. But they said you can't even talk to the jury about that potential. You can't talk to them about like any kind of civil rights connections. They try to control that whole environment. And then when the lawyer tried to kind of get around it by even wearing a shirt that had the faces of civil rights leaders on it, they kicked him out of the court. And he got in trouble for that. So they are definitely, they do not play fair. The ICE notice does not name Axon, but procurement reviewers and policing experts told CNBC that the specifications appear to match only Axon products. So this highly suggests that they struck a $220 million deal with this company after Trump put between $1 and $5 million in there. I mean, most of the ICE, I don't know about them being from somewhere else. They don't need to do that. They just send them from Texas to Minnesota. You know, they definitely aren't from the towns that they're occupying. That's for sure. Yep, exactly. If you're in like if you're a climate activist, you can't bring up the reason why you did the thing. Gotta go through some police brutality stories. I think there was a lot of them this week. So if that is a upsetting thing for you, if you've been through a bad arrest or something and you don't want to watch it, this is the time where that begins. What are you talking about? I don't mind. I think Biden should have let more people over the border. I am like open borders, open immigration type person. I'm surprised that you haven't picked that up yet. So this guy had his front tires touching the white line at an intersection. An older black man, 68 years old. And the cops just beat the hell out of him. Oops, I gotta share the screen.
This is when Adamescu reports that Caldwell balled up his fist and lunged towards him. When 19 Investigates reviewed the body cam, we didn't see Caldwell raise a fist before Adamescu moved towards him. The officer's partner can then be seen stepping in, putting a hand on his shoulder. Despite this, Adamescu begins yanking Caldwell, trying to pry him from the truck. Video shows the officer punching him multiple times. Now the dash cam video.
Yeah, Deborah, sometimes I agree with you, and then sometimes you way out there.
Caldwell maintains he was only trying to block the officer's punches. When Adamescu can't pull Caldwell from the truck, video shows him climbing into the cab. Video shows Adamescu continuing to throw punches from outside the cab. When he draws his taser, Caldwell steps out. The dash cam appears to show Adamescu shoving Caldwell's head into the truck
like none of this shit is necessary.
Before taking him to the ground.
No, I said wild, but what I really meant to say was racist, but I was trying to be nice.
You are lying. You are lying.
Within minutes, backup.
But I shouldn't. I censor myself too much in that regard on the live stream because I don't like getting in direct confrontations with people. But that is the things that you say that irritate me.
Arrives. The 68-year-old is left to sit on the side of the road, his hands cuffed behind his back, surrounded by 8 officers.
He's bleeding from his head.
Caldwell's face is bruised and bloodied. Police photograph his injuries and those of Adamescu. Caldwell pleads with officers to remove his cuffs.
I just had hip out. Both of my hips been operated on.
You can just stay down there and if it's more comfortable, all right? Whatever.
An ambulance arrives 12 minutes later. When it's over, Henderson is issued a traffic ticket. Caldwell is taken to the hospital, then released. He's now accused of assaulting an officer. We reached
assaulting an officer.
Out to Officer Adamescu for comment, but Police Chief Jason Bauman told us he declined. We asked the chief which part of the video shows Caldwell attacking his officer.
On the video, tell me where he strikes the officer, because I can't see that on it. I have not reviewed the video. Every use of force.
They always say this. How are you going to do an interview and never just not see the video that you're talking about on the interview?
That the Mansfield Police Department goes through what we call a mini investigation.
That investigation is still ongoing, and a prosecutor will decide whether to file charges against Caldwell. We should tell you why this officer pulled this driver over to begin with. Officer Joshua Adamescu says that when she stopped her truck, it was touching this stop bar, which is a violation. Henderson's traffic ticket was dismissed.
That is such a ridiculous reason to pull somebody over in the first place. This one's even more insane. This church grandma was helping the homeless, so these cops smash her window and shit. Pull her over and smash her window.
What do you require? What? She's on that side. What? Why? These wound face. Nice.
This is Kim. She is a church-going grandma. Before we left the property. Okay. Never mind.
How about some garbage bags? Oh, yeah, water. Yes, you can take some bottles. Yeah, you got medicine.
What's up with the captions here?
You watch.
All right, at 6:50, we got pulled over.
He's pulling us over. What? What? Get your driver's license. You have your insurance? Yes, on my phone. I'm shaking so bad I can't find it. Okay, it's okay. I'm gonna cry. I'm not opening the door. I'm telling you right now, I'm not fucking around with these people. I'm tired of people just thinking they can do whatever the fuck they want because they have a badge. It doesn't work for me.
Badass lady.
Okay, we're surrounded. Wow. This is great.
About 3 hours later, those officers will claim they pulled us over for going over the white line at a stop sign. The same exact thing that they beat the hell out of that guy for no reason. This seems to be like some new thing that they're just pulling up on. They're using as an excuse to pull over people that they don't have any reason to pull over. You could see him getting out that device that he's gonna break her window with, and it's like, what the hell was she doing wrong? Like, who do you think you're dealing with?
What is he doing?
I'm helping the homeless.
Just calm down, calm down. Just
I'm not putting the window down. No.
open it a crack. Just a crack.
I'll open it a crack that far.
Okay,
What do you need? Oh, no, you're not. Oh, no, you're
Stop,
not.
stop. Okay, stop.
Castle
Please.
law in Florida states that unless I'm doing something illegal, you cannot come in
Okay,
my
just
vehicle.
please explain what you need. Please explain your request.
Tell me what we're being
Can you
stopped
make the request, please? What is the request?
What do you need from me? I want to know. It's right here. It's right here. I have my license. I have my insurance. You have no reason to stop me. I was in that neighborhood helping those people. Thank you very much. We do mutual aid.
What is with these pigs, man? This lady is such a badass.
Okay.
This is the second time this has happened.
What else? What else can we provide?
Right now.
They go after people who feed the homeless. Like they, you know, it's an active thing where you have to watch out for the cops when you're feeding the homeless. It's insane. Food Not Bombs deals with this all the time.
Not to. Why do you need it down?
Okay.
You break it, I swear to God.
What do you require? What? She's on that side. What? Why? Sorry, what is the problem?
Get out.
Why?
Get out of the car.
Can you please explain why?
Well, you should.
I'm not. I just want to know what's happening.
Yeah, that is the most frustrating thing when you're dealing with a cop and you're just like, you just ask them like, why are you bothering me? Because that's when you're supposed to assert your rights and shit. When you're, you know, the whole am I being detained thing. But they just ignore you and they repeat their commands and they just do that forever, like an annoying child that doesn't get the point. And then they just grab you. I've been ripped out of the window before by a cop many years ago. This was like 2011 before I had a smartphone.
Get out.
Okay.
Make sure you.
Wait.
That shit is crazy. Trying to figure out. This was recent. This was just this week. I'm seeing an article on it here. There aren't many like mainstream news on articles on it. And this just basically describes the video we just watched. It doesn't give any kind of charges. Let's see what we got. This one's fucked up, man. This cop beats the shit out of a handcuffed pregnant woman in the jail.
against the wall and then dragging her back to a video shows Carrico pushing that woman against the wall and then dragging her back to a bench.
She gets me to sit down and she just hits me.
Surveillance video shows Carrico's arm swinging towards that woman's head. Internal reports say Carrico didn't document that use of force in her initial police video shows Carrico pushing that woman against the wall and then dragging her back to a bench.
Yeah, like pushing her and her stomach against the wall, dude. What the fuck, dude? Unfucking real, man. Like, what is even why you need to do that? Like, what is even the people that sign up for these roles, like, so many times got something fucked up going on. And there's a bunch of weird shit that happens that, like, I know that they were getting, like, a couple of years ago, we did a story about how they were getting, like, special gang tattoos that symbolized their killings and stuff like that. This news story says that they've been, like, bending their badges every time they get a kill or something. Yeah, that story is horrific. I want to see that I think this might be a new Yeah, there's a little bit more on the story here.
A former Buckeye police officer hitting a handcuffed pregnant woman.
So I guess she's been fired. The Buckeye police officer.
Now that woman is pursuing legal action against that officer and the city.
You can leave my sleep like that. No, I'm not going to leave your sleep like that. When you become a cop, you can tell me how to do my job. Until then, you can be quiet.
That's the voice of Officer Carrie Carrico arresting a 9-month pregnant woman for reckless driving, and then during the booking process.
Ooh, that's fucked up.
Carrico caught on video pushing the pregnant woman against the wall. Later in the booking process, swinging an arm towards her head. Carrico resigned earlier this month and has pled not guilty to 2 counts of aggravated assault. A notice of claim now obtained by ABC.
So she was fired and has charges.
15 states that woman is still suffering from lingering neck and back pain. Carrico's supervising sergeant later said Carrico's actions were, quote, very aggressive, describing them as definitely over the top and unnecessary. The city of Buckeye, its police department, and former officer Carrico all named in the notice of claim, which asks for $5 million to settle the case. The woman's attorney telling me today they are filing a formal lawsuit against the officer and the city this week.
Like, that's kind of like, you know, that is familiar behavior. Like, that is behavior that you are doing on a regular basis. See, that's a weird ass comment as well. Like, what the fuck do you mean by that? Is like every now and then these like weird ass right-wing talking points about, yeah. I don't think she needs to be taking testosterone to be beating the shit out of somebody. I don't know what that has to do with anything. Oh, I forgot to share this during the flock thing. But this guy got busted for using license plate readers for personal use, which probably means stalking people. Does it say? I would be willing to bet that that kind of violence is heavily common among women that sign up for the police force. I think, let's see what else I got. I got it's after 3 already. I've been going almost 3 hours today. I gotta feed Bubbles soon. Oh, I got a couple of good ones from Alex Karp. Let's look at this guy.
This get transferred to this model tomorrow, i.e., I have no business, no job.
You sound pretty angry.
No, this is the voice of American business that is being channeled through me. And I'm telling you, it is absolutely a problem for this country because we are on the cutting edge of every single AI technology. But if you're going to triply oversell something, and by the way, the enterprises are just tired of it. But by the way, just a minute. I want everybody watching this, to test what I'm saying, especially investors who think somehow this is working. Pick up the phone and call a CEO in private, not in public. Every single person here can do this. Call 2 or 3 and say, Madman Karp is on TV.
Yeah, just call up a CEO.
Saying we're livid. I'm not going to quote you. You know I won't quote you. You have a history. And see, they're twice as livid as me. Like,
yeah, like fuck their opinions. How about that? He is nuts. There's another one where he's tripping out. I forget what I can't find it though. I think that might have been it because I would have saved them both. Yeah, I think it's much better doing the weekly long stream because it makes for better. I have a lot more to talk about, and I could talk about things that are actually like I don't have to scrape the bottom of the barrel with boring stories and stuff like that. Oh yeah, there was also this MK Ultra disclosure yesterday, but I didn't cover it because nothing happened. They just, went over things that we already know, just like they did with the UFO disclosure. They did say that it is possible that Charles Manson was affiliated with MK Ultra, but this was like something that we already know. It'll be interesting to see if anything new comes out. But yeah, they're confirming things that we've already known. I think the thing might be that like the government has denied some of it for so long. I don't know. I still think that all of these disclosures are like Epstein file distractions at this point. Yeah, exactly. Ooh, on the ibogaine thing, I probably am not releasing a new video tomorrow. I'm going to be releasing probably clips of maybe a clip of today or something. But I'm interviewing some experts in the psychedelic field about some of the corporate takeover bullshit that's happening and some of the dark influences that have been coming in there, and just generally some other stuff. So hopefully that'll come out in the next couple of days. So that'll be super cool. Yeah, like I said, this new format of just doing the long stream once a week and then releasing other videos and releasing articles and interviews, this allows me to do so much more and have stuff that I could point to as like my body of work instead of just dicking off on a live stream. So I'm definitely excited about that. There was this really funny AI video of what's her name? Luna and what's the other guy? The older guy who but they were like, trust us, bro. UFOs, bro. We got more info. Yeah, I mean, unless her parents were hippies, she probably made that one up, I'd say. But I think I'm gonna head off for the day. I appreciate y'all joining me. I have, let's see. If you haven't seen these videos yet, yeah, exactly. The one that made Dia hit. I have this new video here about, you know, Trump's current eugenics agenda and the history of eugenics in the United States, as well as the U.S. government's 140 year on anarchists. I talked a little bit about that today. So, yeah, definitely check those out. I'll have more coming in the upcoming week. And I think like a lot of changes and upgrades. Oh, I didn't even show you. Yeah, so this one is the forced institutionalization. That's the new one. And then that one. Definitely check them out. But yeah, I do hope that there is some new information, or that at least it does publicize things. But I will catch y'all later. Have a good week. Peace. Don't forget to check out my other videos. And if you have the ability and want to contribute, take a look at my Patreon, where you can get a subscription to my books and other cool stuff. I have some other videos to watch, so if you haven't seen them, go and binge on them. I'll see you next time.